Right, back in the Berlingo. We're going to try and do the gearbox programming because the gearbox was replaced on this. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, we've got the results. Gearbox. We got those on the gearbox. We got those. And right, if we go clear codes, yes. Right, going into gearbox. Okay, check for fault codes, no trouble codes, okay. We have to go into special function and replacement parts, gearbox programming. Go gearbox programming. Okay. 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 It's going through the gears now. Switch off the ignition and validate. Okay. Switch on ignition and validate. Okay. Okay. Gearbox grid teaching is finished. Clutch load bearing points. The vehicle must be in the following configuration before starting the programming of the clutch point of light contact. Vehicle stopped, engine cold, engine running, ignition on. Okay. Okay, hold on, we have to go back. Gonna go into gearbox, check for faults. We're in the Citroen Berlingo 2014. It needed a new gearbox in the end. I'll show you why. The garage that was fixing the gearbox, actually replacing the clutch, they didn't put a bearing into the gearbox, so that caused the gearbox failure. We had to replace the gearbox. Now it's just going to be programming it and checking if everything works. We have tried it before and couldn't program the gearbox. It didn't pick up the speed sensor on the gearbox at the time. Reason being, I've been an idiot, I haven't checked it. It hasn't been plugged in on the replacement gearbox. All the loom was plugged in apart from one connector, apart from one sensor. That caused no signal on the speed sensor for the gearbox, so that rendered programming the gearbox impossible. That sensor is now plugged in. I'm reading the car and we're gonna go back into programming in a sec. Just as an update, the gearbox that came out of a Berlingo is a mess. Well, it is a mess at the minute because the dog is sitting here, but never mind. The bearing that was supposed to be there and the seal were missing when they put it back together, so that is the reason why it never worked. And obviously that gives you a hint of you have to look out what garages you take it to, because some of the garages, as you can tell, are not exactly serious about the job. They destroyed a car that was worth about £6,000 and they charged about £1,500 for the repair. There's only two faults on the system now: transmission speed signal and clutch programming incomplete. We're gonna raise them now. Now if I go to special function, parts replacement, transmission programming, we're going into that. Transmission programming. Okay. Vehicle engine stop, ignition on. Okay. Okay. Ignition on, vehicle and engine stopped. Okay. It's just going through gears now. Okay. Ignition off and validate. Okay. Ignition on and validate. There we go. Vehicle stopped, engine cold, engine running, ignition on. Okay. Turn the ignition off and validate. It did pass this thing. Okay, so I finished programming the gearbox on this. The programming of the gearbox involved, to start with, you would have to wait for 20 minutes for the car to be stopped in neutral. Then after it warmed up, you would have to pull off 4 times quite rapidly. Not wheel spin, but quite fast pull off. Just to set the clutch, you would have to do it 4 times, then wait for 5 minutes in between, and then do another round of 4, then wait for 5 minutes, another round of 4, and then it's all programmed. So it's not too hard. Once that initialization is complete and the clutch is programmed, there's no more faults anymore. There's just faults for the radio and faults for BSI, which is the left rear brake light, I think, bulb. As I said, the speed sensor on this gearbox is on the top of the gearbox. It's the one that's covered by a little metal cage sort of thing to protect it, I think. It's like a crank sensor, but it's on the gearbox basically. So if you ever get problems with that, that's the sensor. This is the exact sensor that was sitting on top of a gearbox. Not sure if you're going to be able to work out the symbols of it. I don't think so, but I'll try to put them in the description. Yeah, that's not really. Hold on. That's the sensor. So if you can read that, that is the gearbox speed sensor. That's of the old gearbox. We thought this one's broken, but it turned out it hasn't been connected. There's only 2 pins on it, and this one's got a little bit of damage on the back, so we didn't use this and we used the other one. So the car's done. The only problem is now when you start it, it smokes. So there's more fun coming. It could be because it's been standing, but it's been running for over an hour and it still smokes. So it's either injector stuck or something, or wrong diesel. I don't know yet. Could be the DPF, could be something else. We shall see. Smells lovely. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, and I shall see you on the next one.